Hello everyone, and also hello Biscuits. This is a kind of a message I'm recording for Biscuits, but I thought it might be of interest to everyone else, so I thought I'll make it public because it was a public post that Biscuits wrote on her Patreon page and said, hey, I think I need to change things up a little bit because this whole Patreon thing is not quite working for me. And I know a lot of people who say the same thing, but I also know from personal experience and from other people that it does work very well. So what's what and why does it work for some people and why doesn't it work for other people? It looks like it has to do to one extent how much you do that isn't on Patreon. So if you have something like a popular blog or a well-doing YouTube channel or a good Twitch channel, something that gets a lot of traffic, then you can direct people to Patreon as a result of that. So if you have a popular gallery or if you're writing a lot on whatever that gets a lot of views and you can smuggle that Patreon link in there, then it has a chance to reach people. So it's not like people are going to Patreon and they're looking to spend money and they're having a look at what creators are there that I can give that money to. That's really not how it works. It's more that they visit something that you do for free elsewhere and then you go and send them there. And you probably know that already, but the more you do that people can view, the bigger a chance you have of somebody signing up. Having said that, the platform itself only supports one model and one model only, and that is kind of where I personally find Patreon very restrictive. So it works well for monthly ongoing donations and for nothing else. You can give people perks in return, but that is usually not why people sign up. So if you make something, like in Biscuits' case, you spend a lot of time making a monthly Patreon goodie that costs you a lot of time to make, then that isn't really the reason why people would sign up. They take it and they say, hey, that's awesome, thank you, but first and foremost they want to say thanks to you. So they're kind of happy to give you money, and if they get perks in return, then hey, so be it. But the perks aren't the reason why they're signing up. The reason why they're signing up is you, and that's something important to keep in mind. So usually perks isn't what reels people in. No matter how much time you spend on them or how much time and energy you spend on them, if it's something that's easy to make, that kind of comes easy to you. Like in my case, an early access video. I mean, I make the video anyway, and sometimes it needs a re-edit, sometimes it needs a thumbnail, so it's not quite ready for release yet, but the video is made. I'd make it anyway. I don't create any additional work for me. You know, a scene file I give away that I create as part of a project that I'm building, that I generate that anyway, so I might as well give people access to it. It's not something that I spend extra work on. So that's one important aspect to remember. High-res images is another one. If you're building something like a comic and you make the release available for everyone for whatever 1200 by 1200, but internally you have a 5000 by 5000 image, you might as well give that away to supporters because you have it. It doesn't cost you any extra work to do it. However, having said that, with Patreon isn't a shop, so that's the other important thing to remember. You do build up a backlog of products if you do release something like that, but it's super difficult / impossible for people to access it. It's not really something that is akin to a shop. So therein lies this next thing that I want to talk about, and that is the fact that when somebody signs up for the $1 tier and they get access to a backlog of catalogs of stuff like 30 products that you've released once every month, then they could download those and then cancel the subscription and say, hey, that's great value for money, awesome. And like you've painfully experienced, that this is what's happening. And that is, of course, a problem. So how can you avoid that from happening on Patreon going forward? Well, you can't, not on Patreon, because they don't have a system for that. So it's tricky because you have to do some manual work. Because I do like your freebies, I rarely ever use them, I gotta say, because I choose to support you because I want to support you, not because I get goodies. That's an awesome benefit, but that's not the reason why I do that. So speaking of that, then this goes back 20 odd years, where somebody who was writing a successful video editing blog, he had a really cool business concept. This is, as I said, over 20 years ago. This is not something where Patreon was around at that point, or crowdfunding as such was around. He did something really, really clever, and this is what will benefit you going forward as well. He released everything he did for free when it comes out, but often it was very interesting and important information that you'd want to look at a later point when it becomes more applicable to you. So like, certain editing techniques or whatever. So he writes it up as a blog post once a week, and it's great to get that. You can subscribe to his newsletter, you get it delivered, you get that teaser of the article, and then click here to see the full article. After 1 month, it goes behind a paywall. So after 1 month, you can still see that article exists, but you can't access it anymore. And that is really the business model that you want as well. You want to have something where you say, hey, Patreons who are currently subscribed to me with charge up front, here's access to my latest goodie. It's awesome. Next month, there'll be a new goodie. Everyone has access to that. The previous month's goodie will now be behind a paywall. If you want to access it, then hey, you either need to be on the $25 or $50 tier or whatever we've got set up, or you don't get access. It's as easy as that. And even then, you may run into this problem that, hey, unless you've been somebody could go and say, hey, I'm going to sign up for $25 and then do the same that the $1 guy did and access your 30 goodies and then I cancel. That's also not the situation that you want to be in. So I would suggest you do something along the lines of you go and make the current goodie available to the current Patreons, and whoever wants a back catalog, well, find a different outlet for that. And this is the other thing I want to talk about, Ko-fi. So I choose to support you, and this is just user-to-user experience. I choose to support you via Patreon because I like that. And when both you and I started with Patreon, that's kind of the only thing that was around that was more or less mainstream. So I thought, yeah, I'll do that. That's awesome. I'll give you $1 a month, and that's great. Never regretted it, and it's not going to change anytime soon. So, but you didn't do the same. You said, hey, I prefer to support you every once in a while. I support you with YouTube Super Chat donations. So this is something that we did have then. And you don't do this every month, but you do it if and when it suits you. And so this is very important. This is a business model that Patreon doesn't support, and it's a shame. I think they're shooting themselves in the foot there. YouTube supports it, and I'm lucky that I have it, but of course YouTube takes 30%. It depends if you sign up from a mobile, they take 50%. And so this is where Ko-fi comes in. Ko-fi is a fairly new platform from Cambridge, and you've probably seen it. I have it, Chris has it, Steve has it. It's free to sign up. Ko-fi doesn't take any fees, and more importantly, they support 3 business models that are very cool. They support monthly ongoing donations if you choose, but more importantly, they support one-off donations. If like basically the buy me a coffee thing. If I feel like I want to buy you a coffee, I can do that. You can offer benefits for that. You can ask people to sign up monthly, so both options are available. So you've got basically both of these combined as a secondary outlet to Patreon. So this strategy has worked extremely well for me. I've only had it for a little over a year, and I've had, check it out, over 900 people have bought me coffees, and the coffee is $3. So do the maths. This is awesome. This is really, really cool. And it's literally a whole new segment of people that do not want a monthly commitment. And I totally appreciate that. I don't want monthly commitments either, but some people are okay with it. So by having a secondary outlet, you'll tap into that second audience. And if those people choose to support you monthly, which I also have some of, that also works. But then the third thing is this is where the strategy will come in handy for the back catalog of goodies. Ko-fi also has a shop, which is super awesome. So you can make products available either for free or for a fee, and this is what I would recommend for your back catalog. Take them all off Patreon, or make a particular tier where you know, hey, these are trusted people, they can have access to these goodies. Or like you've already mentioned, email me and I'll send it to you. That's cool. But what I would do is put the whole back catalog on Ko-fi for a fee. So they're products that people can download, and they can pay you for it. It's a bit like Renderosity, but the whole profit goes to you, and that's kind of exciting. That's really cool. You can attach things just like on Renderosity, really, and that'll be good if like the first month you make a goodie that's available to the current Patreon supporters, and then the next month that goodie goes in the vault or on Ko-fi. It's now available for purchase for everyone. If the previous month's Patreons have missed it, well, they need to go and buy it from there, and it's not going to be a high price. Make it available for a tenner. All the profit goes to you. You don't have to share it with Renderosity, and that'll be a good strategy to do. So then, you know, third month comes along, you have 2 products there. Fourth month comes along, 3 products there, and so forth. You can give early access to things both on Patreon as well as Ko-fi. And that is a good strategy to do, because then you don't have that issue anymore that people pay $1, sign up on Patreon, and then they bail, because really all they wanted was either the goodies or they wanted to give you one-off donation. This is also something that I've had, that people come in, they sign up because they really only want to give me $5, so they sign up for a month, and then the next month they cancel, not because they dislike me, but this is all they wanted to give, or that's all they could give. And you know, we need to take care of everyone's needs. So by adding Ko-fi to your repertoire, you would do exactly that. You have the Patreon audience, the ongoing monthly supporters, and you have the one-off donators, and you would get also rid of the people who only sign up to get access to your back catalog of goodies. So that's a great way of doing it. And I thought I'd share this with you and everyone else, because, you know, it's valuable information. I hope it was helpful.